Hello. Today I'm making this video to showcase the four books that I read in January. Um, I only read four. Well, I started one of them in December and then finished it in January. The other three I started in January and finished in January. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. The first one, I'm going to say them in order of my least favorite to favorite. Uh, all four of them were great. I love reading all four of them. They were all great, but you gotta choose favorites somehow. So the first one, the Tao Te Ching, is that how you pronounce it? I'm not too sure. Came in this very nice um, case. It's very nice, silky smooth version, and it's Eastern philosophy, which I like a lot of philosophy. I've got several books that I haven't read, but I've read some, and I think this one might be my favorite philosophy that I've read so far. Some of it I just couldn't quite understand, but um, but from the parts that I did understand, it was very good. It was very what I did understand from it. It was very eye opening. I enjoyed it a lot. Um, I'm not gonna tell you all about the book. I'm just gonna recommend you go read it. If you like philosophy, but it's got a lot of good artwork in here too. A lot of it, and it's so well drawn. It's fantastic. I love this version of it. Um, Utterly fantastic, the artwork. But yeah, it's a lot of it's a little eye opening, and I'd recommend you go read it if you like if you like a lot of philosophy, I'd go recommend it. Um, Anyways, the next one, How to Be a Bad Emperor. Now this one, I think this one was meant to be a more of a philosophy, but I got a lot more enjoyment out of it for the history side of it, if that makes any sense. About half the book is so on one side it's in the I'm assuming in the original language, and then the other side is the translated language, which is always cool to go see the original language as well. But if you like if you like if you like philosophy, but you also like history, I recommend it. More for history. I enjoyed it a lot more for the history than the philosophy. Um, Several moments of it, I got a good kick out of it. So many, it's just so many good moments within the book, telling you about each of the different emperors, what they did wrong. Mostly never telling you what they did right. It's always just what the funny things they did or the deplorable things they did too. It was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I read this one and this one at work. They were fairly quick reads since half this book you only have to read one side of the book, and then this one is uh, very short with each page, and you can have a lot of stopping points. Um, but yeah, both this one was really good as well. If you like history, I recommend it. Now, the third book I read was I think it's Gao Tanabe, his rendition of The Call of Cthulhu by H.P. Lovecraft. Um, I mainly read his manga, so a lot of pictures. Um, but I really like his books for the artistry. Like you don't really get any better than this. You don't get any better than this with the artistry in the books. Um, I can figure out which way to go. Yeah, you don't get any better than that. I want to say this is my favorite that he's ever done an adaptation of, but his adaptation of Shadows over Innsmouth is also really really good. It's longer, um, but I think it's a little better in my opinion, just story wise. But I really like this one. This one was really good. I think this is probably my second favorite that he's done. Um, but yeah, just the way he depicts everything from the original story. Um, I really like his renditions of everything where he's hand drawn stuff. It's the artwork is it's just utterly fantastic. Hand drawn, from what I know. That's mainly why I like reading manga, or at least the horror. The artwork is fantastic. Sometimes the ideas are fantastic. But this one was just such an enjoyable read, to seeing what he thought everything looked like within the story from H.P. Lovecraft. And I think it did a really good job with it. I was fairly impressed with that book. Um, Now, my last book that I read was probably it's the longest book that I've ever read, and I started it in December, but I didn't finish it until mid to late January. I think it's a contender for my favorite book of all time, but I had read Stephen King's It. Very long. Took me exactly 31 days to start and finish. Um, whether that it probably because of me, of how inconsistent I am, but this book, this book is really good, really good. I I want to say I would recommend it to anybody who likes horror, but I, I went into it thinking it's gonna be more of about Pennywise the clown, but it was very not much of just Pennywise the clown. It was more of the story was mainly just the kids, and obviously there's Pennywise. They have their times with Pennywise and whatever, and they have to defeat him and all that. But it was more of just like a coming of age story. I think that's what it's more of, in my opinion. Which it, I guess it depends on each person if you would like it or not. For that fact, but I didn't mind it whatsoever. I enjoyed it regardless. Um, it's so well written. I don't think the movies have ever done it justice or will ever do it justice. It's just utterly. It's a fantastic book. It's fantastic. It's long, but it's amazing. Um, Obviously, it has its downsides that I'm not going to specify here, but I try not to let the few pages dictate the entire book. Like there's maybe 10 pages, 15 pages that I really kind of rub me the wrong way, but I try not to let that ruin the other 1100 pages that are in this book, which are so well written. Whenever you do see Pennywise, whenever he's in his different forms, like his spoilers, by the way, when he's in different forms of like his werewolf or like the old decrepit guy underneath the house or whatever. I think he does a really good job with writing those in and giving you kind of. He really likes to put details into everything, and I really appreciate that for what he does. But you get to see all these different moments with all the kids, and whenever they're grown up as well. I really like the part with. I think it was Eddie and his mom. Whenever he kind of just kind of combats his mother in his whenever he's in the hospital with his broken arm. Um, I really like that interaction between him and his mother, and him trying and kind of um, realizing how she is and whatever, kind of believing the doctor with his asthma and just really combating his mother. I really like that. I really like the growth, the development that's there. I wish we could have gotten a little more. However, I wish we kind of gotten a little more with Richie. I think we got to understand everybody else pretty well. Except I kind of wanted a little more from Richie, but that's just me. I think I liked a lot of the part. I like pretty much so much of this book. It was just super well written, and it's such it's not it's a great book. It's fantastic. And it's a contender for one of my favorite books of all time. It's probably a contender for my favorite book of all time, if I had to be honest. Uh, I know it took him around 4 years, but I could definitely see all the work he put into it. That's pretty much it. I really love this book. This is a great book. I don't know if I'm gonna reread it anytime soon, just because of how long it took me to read it the first time. But regardless, I might I might reread it down the road because I think I have to kind of either get some stuff that I missed or maybe reshape my opinion on it. But regardless, right now where I stand, it's fantastic. I love it. It's a great book, utterly fantastic. Anyways, yeah, that's my books that I read in January. Somewhat. Thank you for watching.